Okay, I'd like to introduce everybody or welcome everybody to the IPsec and Other Security Measures webinar. My name is John Egolf. I'm part of the HP OpenVMS organization, and we put this webinar together to really address a lot of questions. People had a lot of interest in IPsec and again, some of the security measures that are available on OpenVMS. And what I'd like to do is turn this over to Lauren and let Process Software go through and explain what they have. There's some pretty exciting things here. Lauren?
Hi, I'm Lauren Maschio, and for Process Software, I'm in charge of marketing. And actually, I'm here really just to introduce today's speaker. But first, I wanted to thank John for organizing this webinar and HP for setting it up and getting everyone here. So today's speaker is Richard Whalen, and he's the Process Software Principal Engineer that has been with the company since 1998. He joined Process Software to work on Multinet and TCPware, which he still does today. He is one of several engineers that focuses on our security features on both TCP/IP stacks, and we really consider our security to be our strength in our product lines. Prior to Process, Rich was a software developer for Digital, and now I will turn over to Rich, and I will be here available to answer questions at the end of the webinar. Rich?
Thank you, Lauren. Let's get started. We're going to start with a brief introduction of Process Software and Multinet and services Process Software and Multinet offers. Then we'll get into the meat with IPsec and finish up with a few other security options available in Multinet, and actually some are available for TCP/IP services for those of you that might be running TCP/IP services but not able to switch to Multinet, and a Multinet roadmap, and then questions and answers. Process Software was founded in 1984. We are headquartered in Framingham, Massachusetts. We have many enterprise customers, and we are a significant dominant OpenVMS vendor with TCPware, Multinet, and a number of other products, among them PMDF for email, SSH, which we'll make available for OpenVMS customers that do not have TCPware or Multinet but still want SSH, Precise Mail Anti-Spam Gateway, VMS Authentication Module, which runs on with any one of the IP stacks, provides additional authentication methods for VMS, and we have expanded our VMS consulting services beyond Multinet and TCPware in our products. As a little more detail, Multinet and TCPware are functionally equivalent but separate TCP/IP solutions for OpenVMS. We continue to develop both of them because we have customers that prefer each one. We tend to focus on common code development so that we do our work once and can integrate it into both and support it very easily that way. VMS Authentication Module provides an added layer of security for protecting mission-critical applications. It offers RSA Secure ID Agent, which is a two-factor authentication, Secure LDAP, and Radius Authentication. PMDF is an email messaging suite we offer on VMS, Solaris, and Unix. Precise Mail Anti-Spam Gateway is our anti-spam product that stops spam and viruses. And these are used in by many mission-critical environments. Multinet, as we say, is focused on a mission-critical environment. It runs on VAX, Alpha, and Integrity systems. We support HP high-availability OpenVMS architecture with clusters and Galaxy. We provide secure and reliable communication with FTP over TLS, intrusion prevention system, IPsec, and SSH version 1 and version 2, which also supports SFTP and FTP servers and clients. We provide increased network performance by allowing paired network interface that allows multiple Ethernet interfaces to act as one, sharing the load and failing over if one should fail. We support our software all the way back to OpenVMS 5.5-2 so that customers that are not able to upgrade or for some reason to the latest version of VMS can have new features by running TCP Multinet or TCPware. And we provide some SMTP and FTP management and counting statistics. We have a dedicated support and development team here in Massachusetts. We provide regular product updates and bug fixes. Our bug fixes tend to be as an as-needed basis rather than on a schedule. We offer a basic and 24/7 support to our enterprise customers. We can provide remote and on-site consulting services and training. Okay, here's the meat. IPsec is actually an architecture and a collection of protocols that are used to provide secure communications. The secure communication consists of data privacy or encryption and data integrity, which is authentication and verifying that it is coming from the system it says it is, and replay prevention so that somebody else cannot inject the packets that were done before. There are a number of components to or protocols within these. They encapsulate security protection, which is the encryption that people may think of initially. An authentication header, which provides for data integrity without encryption, and also verifying that the packets come from who they say they are, that they aren't being replayed. An optional compression layer, because compression does not work well after encryption. Security policies and associations, a key exchange protocol, and IPsec can operate in tunnel or transport mode. We'll get more into these as we get further into the slides. Why would you want to use IPsec? IPsec can be used to secure many applications with a single management policy and no modifications to the applications. It provides confidentiality, data integrity, and source authentication, and it protects all communication below the IP level. You may currently use SSH, HTTPS. These things require separate management. They each have their own places where they're good, have their weaknesses and strengths. One of the weaknesses with SSH is very few people actually check the fingerprint on their initial connection to a system. There is a protocol available to do that, and process is investigating implementing it, but it also requires a secure DNS channel. So IPsec could provide all of these all together. IPsec also is set up and maintain a single security system between the systems instead of many, and it's invisible to users. Now into a little bit more detail into the actual components. ESP, which is the actual encryption, encapsulating security protocol is what the ESP means. It encrypts all the data inside the IP packet so that no intermediate system that does not know the algorithm or key can decrypt the packet. As I said, this is what people think of initially when they hear IPsec, but it's only one part of it. Authentication headers is a initial checksum to verify that the immutable, the portions of the IP header have not been changed, and that the packet is coming from who it says it is. It verifies the authenticity of it. Again, the checksum has some additional information that is not in the packet that has been agreed upon outside of the packets. And IP compression, as I said earlier, if you want compression to be effective, you have to do it before encryption, because encryption often destroys those patterns that can be compressed. The primary algorithms that Multinet supports for IPsec are, for encryption, there are 3DS and Blowfish. For the message authentication codes, which is the authentication headers, are SSH1 and MD5. These are mentioned in our RFCs that say what protocols that the Internet has agreed are desirable at the time. That the protocols that are desirable change from time to time, depending upon new algorithms that are evolved and that are felt to be a effective choice given today's hardware, and how whether or not the existing algorithm's weaknesses have been found. So sometimes the algorithm will move from preferred to not preferred over time. The implementation choices of IPsec, you can put it make it happen in a variety of ways. An integrated architecture, which is what Multinet has chosen, it's built right into the IP stack. It provides a significant amount of IP flexibility. It does have one downside is it can cause additional time spent at high IPL with Spinlock help and have and introduce a little bit more performance delay for any traffic. What's referred to as a bump in the stack, which you take and put the encryption and such work outside in a process level code. You get rid of some of that high IPL time, but you suffer potential performance problems with sending the data out and in again, but it's a good retrofit option when it's difficult to integrate. And a bump in a wire where you have an external device that provides the encryption and that generally provides a VPN capability. This prevents the encryption from having a load on the actual system you're using by putting it elsewhere. The security policies and the associations are a very important part of IPsec. The security policies define what types of communication IPsec applies to, addresses, protocols, ports, what is chosen, encryption, authenticity, compression. The security associations define how the security policies are implemented, what algorithms and keys there are to choose from, and you must maintain security associations in a secure manner in order to truly guarantee security. One of the hardest parts of keeping data secure is keeping secure the information as to how you're going to secure your data. Encryption is only as good as the ability to hide the method that you are using to encrypt data. The IPsec key exchange is what does the manages security policies and security associations on a system, primarily security associations. It does an authentication of the remote system outside of the actual IPsec that authentication headers by taking and looking at the IP address and full qualified domain name that the systems provide, and a certificate chain or pre-shared key that they provide. The certificate chain is the preferred method. This certificate chain is effectively the same as might be used with HTTPS or FTPS that provides a certificate that they provide, and that is signed by some known certificate. From there, the key exchange protocol negotiates amongst algorithms and keys that the systems can provide, installs security associations. This key exchange protocol is on second generation in the internet world. The second generation corrects a few security problems found with the first one and actually improves the protocol in general. Multinet has recently provided Raccoon 2 to support IPv2, and we still provide IPv1. IPsec can operate in transport mode, which is host to host, such that the encryption and authentication happen at each end. Only the IP headers are in the clear. Everything from TCP, or if it's TCP, you wouldn't see the TCP headers. You'd see an encryption header if you're doing encryption. Or in tunnel mode, which is network to network. You take your normal IP packet. You may fragment it as necessary because it doesn't fit when you're going to encapsulate it into another IP packet, attach encryption headers, and then send it what will now be created a virtual private network. Multinet can support both of these methods of transportation. I think people mostly may think of IPsec initially in transport mode and not realize that they may currently use IPsec in tunnel mode when they use a VPN right now. We've got a diagram of IPsec just to help people visualize it, where things might be. The client, if you're doing in transport mode, all the work will take place on the client and the server. That includes the encryption, the authentication, the negotiation of keys through IKE, but if you're operating in tunnel mode, all that work will take place in the routers that are between the servers. It could be, I know with virtual private networks, sometimes if you're for say Windows, it all takes place in a single system, but effectively puts the encapsulation within that system and moves the router effectively into it. Multinet's tunnel mode also does that same thing. It's that you provide a network within a network. One thing that's important is choosing a security mechanism. As we said, IPsec allows security between a well-defined set of hosts that require secure communication over a variety of ports. If you know the systems that want to communicate in a secure manner, that's where IPsec does well. You have to define what systems, what security mechanisms they are, and all for this in the IKE configuration. It doesn't really have much functionality for systems that come in that are not expected. Usually, you just do not provide IPsec for them. TLS or SSL, which is used in HTTPS and FTPS. I'm sure everybody's familiar with that when they go to their bank online or such like that. You've got a large number of users that you want to provide secure communication for to, one or two systems that you want to have them be able to authenticate who they are, who the provider is, but you really aren't going to authenticate the incoming system except for after the initial connection is made, and you want to provide security. You want to provide data privacy there too. SSH does a good job of providing data privacy and authentication in a telnet manner, but as I said earlier, people don't generally verify that key fingerprint that they get when they make their initial connection. DNSSEC is available. All the root servers provide keys as of early May, and its function is to verify that DNA answers have not been tampered with. It does not provide any encryption of the answers. It just provides authentication headers so that you can verify that the answers are accurate and you can trust who's providing them. Another function that Multinet and TCP provide is an intrusion prevention system. This allows our firewalls to act in a dynamic way such that when an application detects that somebody is trying to break into the system, they can add additional screening to the firewall that is there for a limited amount of time based on how frequent the attacks are coming in. The applications that we have implemented this in so far are Telnet, SSH, FTP, and a few others, and we are looking into doing it in various parts of the stack too. Summary. Going much faster than I probably should be. I don't see any questions being written up anywhere. I don't know if I've got that part of my screen even. Multinet provides IPsec, FTPS, which is FTP over SSL, SSH and SFTP, DNSSEC, our intrusion prevention system, Kerberos for Telnet, and we have also VMS authentication module, which we'll talk a little bit about that, and precise mail anti-spam and virus detection. Some of you listeners that currently do not use Multinet may wonder how hard it is to switch from HTTP services to Multinet in order to get IPsec, or the intrusion prevention system. Multinet provides the equivalent network interface and API that TCP/IP services uses, so no application changes should be made in most cases. We strive to make that the case. If we hear from a customer that they're having a difficulty with that interface, we put a significant amount of work to understand what the difficulty is and correct it. We provide all the standard utilities, FTP, POP, IMAP, NTP, and so that generally users would not see any difference. The difference is in the configuration, of course, and our customers feel that Multinet is easy to install and manage. Customers that have changed from TCP/IP services generally only contact us towards the end of their installation with a few specific questions. They've done most of the work themselves beforehand. Multinet, as we said earlier, provides investment protection. We support IPsec on Alpha version 6.2 and later, Integrity version 8.2 and later. Our Multinet is actually supported on VAX also, all the way down to 5.5-2. So if you want latest functionality, but you are constrained as to what version of the operating system you can run, Multinet can help you there. We are currently working on developing Multinet 5.4, and we are looking to include the following functionality into it: IP clusters support for VMS 8.4. We're looking at performance improvements, changing from its current direct I/O model to a buffered I/O model, which will help it with integrity systems, which will have a change to cell local memory support. It also provides a number of other internal performance benefits there for Multinet. Fast path support, which reduces spin lock contention, and also we're going to be investigating an NFS v3 server for Multinet, and we're expecting beta in the fourth quarter of this year. The VMS authentication module is a product that we offer on for any VMS system. It doesn't matter what TCP/IP stack they're using. It provides additional authentication modules that beyond what VMS offers. LDAP, which allows you to centralize your passwords. RSA Secure ID, which does two-factor authentication, something you know, your password, and something you have, a key fob that has a regular changing number that you may add. Radius, which I'm not actually certain what that does. It's another management scheme. Somebody changed my slides on me. Or it can do the local UAF generally as a fallback mechanism. It has an API that applications can use, or it can actually work with the VMS log and out calls. And this is supported on OpenVMS VAX 7.3 and later, Alpha 6.2 and higher, and Integrity 8.2 and higher. And again, on Multinet, TCP or TCP/IP services. We have customers very large customers that use this to provide secure authentication in ways that beyond ways that Multinet beyond ways that VMS provides. Our anti-spam gateway was the first anti-spam commercial solution available on VMS. It provides inspection of email messages and quarantine and of them if they have spam. We put out new releases of our new detection fingerprints for spam on a regular basis. We're expecting a beta cycle for it later this month, where some of the new features we're putting into is additional synchronization of user rules for the clustering implementation, multiple LDAP servers for its authentication, improved verify from, and improved GUI, and SSL for POP3 and IMAP authentication. External libraries and have been updated and other minor enhancements. And I think now, thank you for listening to me. I know this, I thought it was going to take longer for me to talk. I probably rushed through a bit, so we'll take some questions and answers. You know, you can always contact us with the email address or by phone.
Richard, this is John. There are 3 questions that came in.
Okay.
You want to see that up?
I don't know if I have that up on my screen. I don't see the questions.
Lauren,
Yeah, this is Jeff Bryant. I'm one of the other engineers, and I can kind of help Rich out with the questions here.
Okay.
The first question I answered privately to the person, so we don't need to go there. The second question gets into how does the use of IPL compare between the multi-net IPsec and the TCP services?
Oh, that's a very complicated question. I don't think we've made direct measurements as to how much it adds there at various times. We do have an ability to disable all the set a flag to jump around a lot of the IPsec code in multi-net, and that does improve performance. It's been a while since we measured exactly how much improvements it does make, and I don't have my numbers in front of me. It can be a noticeable amount if you have a hardware that is close to fully loaded. Yes, so IPsec will add additional load to your system. There's no question about that.
Well, 5.6 has got IPsec.
Pardon?
Our 5.6, 5.6 of TCP/IP services, or 5.7 of TCP/IP services, has IPsec built in and down at the transport layer. So we're talking apples to apples now, I think.
The early adapters kit for TCP/IP services was using the bump in the stack approach. Okay, so I have not done any performance comparisons against the early adopters kit. I've looked at their implementation, but I have not tried to compare multi-net to that performance-wise at all, so I cannot answer that question.
That said, Rich, I'll jump in here for a moment. While the IPsec stuff is integrated down at the stack level, we're also engaged currently on multi-net in a performance project where we're addressing a number of things, especially for lock contention and IPsync. And that's underway, and we'll be able to measure at that point some good benchmarks of how it compares with and without the IPsec and just the overall performance. So I think when we have some of those things implemented, if it's a problem in the currently released stuff, we will certainly be addressing any problems that come up. Rich, the next question is if there's any special considerations for the use of IPsec with IPv6.
In multi-net, none in IPv6 or IPv4. That's both fully integrated in there. The IPsec key exchange software can support both IPv4 and IPv6. It's just the address formats that, as everybody says, the main difference between IPv4 and IPv6 is address formats and sizes.
Okay. The next question gets to, is IPsec supported on older versions of multi-net, like 4.4?
In 4.4, no. IPsec was introduced in multi-net in 5.0. We have made some significant improvements into it since then. Bug fixes a lot. Further checking of the algorithms we get with other systems, and providing the IPsec key exchange first in multi-net 5.2 with the Raccoon software implementation, and more recently, this past winter, is a patch to Multinet 5.3 with the Raccoon 2 software. We chose this software because of the licensing is available and porting it as to how it can, what it allowed us to do, and the fact that there are some users of it out there. So our primary focus is with Multinet 5.3 on it. We do not have any plans to put it back to Multinet 4.4 or provide additional functionality in Multinet 5.0, 5.1, or 5.2 on it. It will be 5.3 and then as we go beyond there.
Okay, the next question I'll actually take, because it really is a VAM question, and someone is asking for the LDAP feature, it being plain text, is this integrated in any way with either Kerberos ticketing or certificates? And the answer is yes, you can use SSL and you can get a secure connection for LDAP. And then there's another question, and certainly, by the way, if other people have questions, please ask away because we're sort of getting down our list here. The next question is if you use LDAP authentication again with the VAM product and Multinet, or actually regardless of the stack, can LDAP become the only form of authentication, or can you continue to use the UAF as well? I'll answer that one as well. The VAM product is a very highly configurable product, so you can select which authentication protocol would be used with any or all users, so you can have different users using different protocols. You can configure it to fall back to the system UAF file, and so you can really set it up almost any way you wish to do the authentication that you would like. And in addition to that, the VAM product is one that we have found, since it's very new and a different way of doing things, customers, every time we have been working with a customer on a new installation, we've generally found there is something unique about authentication in their environment, and we are very happy to work with customers to make tweaks or whatever. You can do quite a bit with it, and really it's extremely flexible. So if you contact us, we'll be happy to answer your questions and see that it works in your particular environment.
Jeff, another question came in?
Yeah, I'm trying to. The user, if they can kind of clarify, they're asking how VAM compares with PAM on Unix and Linux, and to be honest, I don't know the answer to the question because I'm not really familiar with PAM.
Okay, how about if we open up the lines? If you have a question that you'd like to ask verbally, we had muted all the lines, so if you hit hash or #6, you can actually ask questions rather, rather than just typing them in. Any questions? Rich, you must have done a good job. No questions.
Yes, that surprises me. There are very few questions. Either that, I hope I didn't bore everybody, put it bluntly, but I doubt that, or that they're just completely.
Yeah, it's #6. Somebody asked a question, so it's #6 should unmute your line. Excuse me here. Yeah, #6 or #6. Should unmute your line. Okay. So again, just to wrap this up, the reason that we did this is again John Egolf speaking. As I said earlier when we started the webinar, we have had quite a few inquiries and quite a bit of interest again around security with TCP/IP on OpenVMS and again specifically around IPsec and IPsec with IPv2 and so on. So again, the real goal was to make sure that our users were aware of what is available on VMS, again, both Alpha and Integrity right now through one of our partners, Process Software. Process Software has been an outstanding, partner with HP and the Open VMS organization. So what I wanted to do is, again, give people a chance to interact with the engineers, let people know exactly what was going on. This session is being recorded, so if you do have others that want to hear the session, it will be available in a few days. And what I'd suggest is that you do send mail to the info@process.com, or you can send mail to myself, john.egolf@hp.com, for the URL that you can download the recorded version of this. Lauren, anything that you want to do as far as wrap up?
No, I just want to thank everyone for coming. And like as John said, if you have any questions, please send us an email or give us a call. That's it.
Okay.
I have a late question, if I may.
Sure.
Is VAM available through the hobbyist program?
Not at the present time. And to be honest, I'm not sure if we could. We'd have to research that because we do have the RSA software in there, and that's under a particular license agreement.
Understood. Thank you.
And on mute.
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't know how to unmute earlier.
You have a question?
Yeah. Yeah. You were syncing that with Active Directory. I mean, do you sync the DD account to the UES account?
I think that's probably a good question for you to contact us and have us put our VAM engineer in touch with you. There are things that you can synchronize. There's, it can keep things in touch, but that generally, I think the answer to that question gets to be very specific to each person's environment as to exactly what you want to sync and how you want to do it. And there's not really a good general answer probably that will fit your environment.
Okay.
But I think in general people have found that we meet what they're after.
Okay. All right. Yeah, 'cause I asked a question about PAM, which Unix is their pluggable authentication. You can really custom tailor it to what you need.
Right. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one, but we've certainly made VAM a very flexible base so that, we can extend it. When we dropped in Radius later, we initially did it for the RSA authentication, and we're able to pretty easily drop in the LDAP and the Radius. So it's flexible in that sense. It also can be pretty flexible in your VMS environment because it can additionally retrieve attributes out of the LDAP database and make that available to your SCI login. And so you can end up doing a lot of customizations within your SCI login. In addition to that, you can you can do callouts from particular applications. So if, for example, you have a captive account that you want to authenticate through things, you can do things like that. So it's extremely flexible.
Yeah. All right, thanks.
Do we have any other questions? Okay. Well, again, I'd like to thank everybody for attending the webinar, and especially like to thank Jeff, Rich, and Lauren for putting this on. If you have questions, again, there's contact information on the slides. I would like to close out this webinar, and again, thank you, everybody. Goodbye.